Imagine you are money rich, but then you're time poor. You're also purpose poor, right? You're generating income, but then there's no impact. You're producing financially, but then you're not living within your purpose. Imagine you're time rich, but then you're money poor and you're purpose poor. Imagine you're purpose rich, but then you're time poor and money poor. You have to achieve all three in order to master the science of achievement and the art of fulfillment. And that's why today we're going to talk about how to stop being broke. I used to think that broke meant not having enough money. A lot of people actually have money in their account, like I did at one point in my life. I found myself having money in my account, but then I had stress in my body. No margin in my schedule, no peace in my soul, and that is broke too, I realized. 2019, after 14 years of being an entrepreneur, that's when I woke up to the truth. It wasn't always about money. And that's really where most people actually start. Bronnie Ware wrote a book called The Top 5 Regrets of the Dying. The second top regret of the dying is that I wish I hadn't worked so hard. I wish I hadn't traded my time, essentially trade my life for a paycheck. And that's what most people do is we trade our lives for a paycheck. We chase that money. And then when we have it, we still feel empty on the inside, right? And that's what today's conversation is all about. If you are making money, but still feel unfulfilled, what you really want is not just more income, you want more freedom, you want more peace, and a life that really feels like yours. And I know this because I was there, right? I woke up with a lot of money, but I felt no peace. I wanted, a life really more that felt like my own. So imagine you are money rich, but then you're time poor. You're also purpose poor, right? You're generating income, but then there's no impact. Hello, C. Savine here. Before we dive into the video, I just wanted to really first off say thank you for being here. And because you're actually here, I'm going to invite you to attend our Dream Life, Dream Business Challenge. It's a challenge where we're going to walk you through how to live your dream life, how to love your dream business, build a business you're absolutely in love with, waking up every single day doing what you know and love. I would love to have you to do three things. One is to like this video and comment your biggest takeaways. And then most importantly, subscribe so that, when we drop a new training for you, you can actually be alerted as well. So again, I really appreciate you for being here and, subscribing to our channel is free. And we promise you, we will not let you down with our content. So again, I appreciate you being here. Thank you very, very much. Let's dive right into the video. Right. You're producing financially, but then you're not living within your purpose. Imagine you're time rich, but then you're money poor and you're purpose poor as well. Imagine you're purpose rich, but then you're time poor and money poor, right? Look, I understand. I have actually been there. I know exactly how you feel. You have to achieve all three in order to master the science of achievement and the art of fulfillment. And that's why today we're going to talk about how to stop being broke. Being broke is not just about money anymore. We're going to share with you how to really dive into and apply these 6 steps to time rich, money rich, and purpose rich. You have to achieve all three simultaneously, right? Because money rich only is not the goal. Money really just all it does is just it magnifies who you are and what is really going on. Achievement without fulfillment is the ultimate failure. History, if you look at history, is either an example, great examples, or history is also a warning. We have seen people who have money rich, but then have no relationship with their family, or they're money rich and they're super time poor. They're stressed or overwhelmed. They're always surviving to make more money, but then they have no time. Or they're money rich, but then they feel, again, empty on the inside because they feel like they're not impacting the world. They're not contributing as much as they actually would want to. And there's examples of this and warnings of this all around us. You see, the problem here is choosing between your achievement, which is money, success, or everything else, right? Externally, your bank account is full, but you feel empty on the inside. And like I said, I completely understand how you feel in the last 6 years, ever since 2020. We've been able to achieve time rich, money rich, and purpose rich. But prior to that, right, at the 2019 mark, 14 years in, we were money rich, we were successful, but then we start asking ourselves that question: what's the purpose of life? What's the meaning of life? What am I here to not only just do, but what am I here to be? Right? I too was trapped in a life and business model that I constantly had to choose between my finances and being free. Right? Doing whatever it takes to achieve financially, but then not being free as much as I wanted to or as much as I desire to, right? I've broken free from the what I call the or life, and now am living what we call an and life. You see, most people have to choose most of their life. That's why the the top, one of the top regrets of the dying is the top two is I wish I hadn't, um, you know, worked so hard. I wish I haven't traded my time or my life for a paycheck, right? Because they have to choose between success, right, and their family, or their success and their peace, or their money and their freedom, right? And you don't have to. That's an or life. And you can actually live an and life. And that's what we're going to be diving in and sharing with you how we've actually been able to achieve that. And I've helped thousands of clients do the same as what we've actually been able to achieve. Before we dive into these 6 steps, I want to share with you an analogy of this, right? When I was 8 years old, my dad finally, and my mom, their first immigration to the US from Laos. We escaped our country of Laos in 1980. And I was only 5 years old, and I watched them. We escaped Laos, went cross over the border to Thailand. We ended up living in the refugee camp called Napo for about a year, waiting for approval to come to the United States, and we finally got approved. And I watched my parents when they first landed in the U.S. At the end of 1980. I watched them work like super super hard, right, for about three full years from the age of 5 to 8. And my mom and dad both worked 2 full-time jobs, Monday through Friday, another full-time job on the weekends. So we didn't get a lot of time with them. And then about 3 years in, they were able to save enough money to live better, right? And my dad bought a car, right, a newer car. That's his very first purchase of the American dream, right? It was a Chevrolet Blazer, it was a SUV, family SUV. We had a rundown 4-door sedan that was used for those 3 years. But he finally was able to buy this new car and was able to save enough money to really stop working on the weekends. They both did, and started taking us on these road trips. Right, he had friends in that migrated also from Laos because he was a police officer in Laos. So he had police officer friends that lived in Illinois, one in St. Louis, and one in Des Moines. St. Louis was the furthest way, it's like 8 hours from Minnesota. It's where we grew up. And then Chicago was about 5.5 hours, and then Des Moines, Iowa was about 4. Um, so we would start taking these road trips, right? And the first step in the road trip was the destination. Where are we going, right? What do we want, right? That's the first step. So my dad would say, okay, where do you want to go? Do you want to go to St. Louis this weekend? You want to go to Des Moines? You want to go to Illinois? And so we chose the destination, right? And then the second decision was second step of this. So then we would say, okay, now where's the departure? We go by we'd have this map, and then I'd circle the destination, but then I'd circle where we're actually at, right? The departure, right? The departure. And then the third step was the decision. Which car do we take, right? The family sedan or the Blazer? And oftentimes my dad would love the Blazer and I would love the Blazer as well, because I would sit in the very back, right? Make up my area, right, in the back, and because the back had a lot of room, so I'd bring my pillows and blankets and all my toys and stuff like that. So I loved it, and really the decision in terms of what vehicle to take was what are we going to bring and who are we bringing with us, right? So sometimes he allowed several of my cousins to go with me, so it was great to be back there with my cousins. So the third is the decision. Then the fourth is the directions. Then we would map out where we were and where we were going, the destination, the departure, and kind of map out the directions on how to get there. And then the fifth step is the drive. Then we would basically take action, start driving, right? And then the sixth step is the destiny, right? We made it, right? So I'm going to use that analogy here to walk you through how you can actually be time rich, money rich, and purpose rich as well, using that same framework of us, making the, decision to start, going on our road trip. So this is it, right? This is your road trip of life and business, right? So the very first step in this is live your dream life. That's the first step. Live your dream life. And living your dream life is basically awakening, right? Is awakening your vision. Your vision. This is the destination. The question to answer is, what do you want, right? What do I want? Where is it that I want to go? The theme of living your dream life is a life by design, not by default. You see, we're conditioned to live this life by default, right? Because if you really think about the question that was asked, I was asked this question in the 8th or 9th grade. Who do you want to be when you grow up? That question, when asked and answered, it presupposes that you're not that person yet, that identity that you choose. Who do you want to be when you grow up? And what that does is the shift of that question, when you answer it, creates this box and it actually shifts you from being to actually doing. Being is what God created you and I to be. Doing is where you strive to become the identity that you actually chose, right? So I chose engineer. And remember that question was asked. I remember my teacher gave me a box and I opened the box and they had these cards in there, and the card had like police officer and ambulance driver and, engineer, all kinds of engineers, and, a doctor, a dentist, all politician, sales manager, all of these things, right? And you choose. I chose engineer. So now that I chose the engineer, I have to do to become the engineer, right? Get into this box, the default, right? I call it the box, where you then do the traditional model, right? You go to school, you get a degree, you work for a company, you save up as much as you possibly can, and then you retire happily, right? One day, hopefully that everything goes according to plan. If you look at that math, the math of that default life, you spend about 40 years of your life, right? About 25 years of your life first educating yourself, getting that degree. And then you spend your rest of your life working, right? Another 40 years of working till you're 65, 64, and then you retire. And then you live out the last 10 to 15 years of your life free, right? Retired, happy. Again, if everything goes according to plan. That math, if you just look at it as a math problem, it just doesn't work, right? The math itself is a problem. And my dad, unfortunately, lived this, right? This default life. He did exactly that. He went to school, at least when he was 25 in this country, came to the U.S., worked another, 40 some years. He worked for his company for 36 years, matter of fact. And then he retired, and he lived, unfortunately, only the last 11 years of his life. He passed away 3 years ago, right? So that's not the way to live life, because that way is not living. That way is just existing within the matrix, existing within the box, existing according to default, right? So the very first step is you choose, right? You live your dream life. You will clearly identify the destination first. What does a dream life look like to you, right? Then you choose that, you make a decision, you design it first, not the other way around. And then you go to step 2, which is then love your dream self. Loving your dream self is essentially activating your identity, right? This is the departure, just like my dad's, where are we at? We know now where we want to go. Where are we at? So the question to answer is, who do I need to be? Who did God create me to be? The theme of this is that wealth flows to identity. Wealth flows to identity, right? Because your income is tied to your identity. So your income flows according to either who you choose to become, like in my case, an engineer, and I'm going to essentially make the income, whatever I'm generating flows to that identity. I'm going to be capped. And the crazy part about that question, who do you want to be when you grow up, is once you choose that identity, not only do you choose that identity, but they also tell you what you're worth. Oh yeah, you're if you choose at that time a software engineer, you'll make between 65 to 85,000, electrical engineer, mechanical engineer, all of these things, right? So you choose that, and then all of a sudden the ceiling, not only just a box, but now the ceiling is capped, right? You're gonna make roughly around this much. So now they even tell you what you're actually worth, right? So loving your dream self is essentially stepping into, God, who did God create you to be? You see, because here's the true formula. God is a source, right? And he created us. God is a creator, right? In Genesis, God created the heavens and the earth. God created man in his own image. God is a creator. So God is a source. We, since he created us, we're his creation. So God created us as from source. We are then the resource. God put gifts, superpowers, expertise, right, within us, in us, right? And we never tap into that potential because we live by default. And the wealth flows to us according to our identity. Right? Living your dream self is really stepping into, who did God create you to be? Right? Who did God create you to be? That's step 2. Step 3 is then you lead your dream business. And you have to lead in order for you to amplify your impact. The decision here, just like my dad then says, okay, we know where we want to go. We know where we're at, departure. Let's make a decision. Let's make a decision. What do I need to build? In that case, in that road trip analogy, he said, let's make a decision which car we're going to take that will get us there. This is the vehicle. For in business, what do you need to build is the vehicle that will get you from the departure to the destination. The theme here is wealth follows value. You see, one of the things I learned from Tony Robbins is that in life, we are equal as souls. And he learned this from Jim Rohn. Life, we are equal as souls, but we are not equal in the marketplace. Those who add the most value wins. That's why wealth follows value, right? Wealth follows value. If you do not see yourself as having a lot of resources, right? In the example of income, we talk about assets, right? Income follows assets. And if you don't see yourself as having a ton of resources, value to the marketplace, then your only offer, your only asset is to trade your valuable time for a little bit of someone else's money, essentially trading your life for a paycheck. That's why it is a top 2 regret of the dying based on Bronnie Ware's book. So that's your only offer. That's your only asset, is to say, I'm just going to go trade my time for a paycheck, right? Okay. And obviously, if wealth follows value, that means that you didn't create enough value. And that's really what it is. The more value you create in the marketplace, the more wealthy you are. So you got to make a decision, because if you really think about this, if you're sitting here and you have a money problem and you think that it's that's the real problem is money, it's not. You have a problem with the way you're making money. Once you change the way you're making money, your wealth changes, right? My dad and mom, they generate $2.4 million. The problem is they took them 69 years combined to actually make that. My dad worked for his company for 36 years, my mom for 33 years. So wealth follows value. They didn't see themselves. They didn't create their asset. Their only asset was to trade, to work for somebody else, to trade their time for a little bit of someone else's money, right? So when you see yourself as value, then you create assets, you create offers, you create products and services, you create a business, a business that you actually lead, and that's how you amplify your income, right? That's step 3. And then step 4 is then you leverage your dream team. You leverage your dream team. This is where you then will achieve your time freedom, right? My dad then would say, okay, now that we know we know which vehicle we're going to take, let's map it out, right? The directions, how to drive from where we are to where we want to go with this vehicle, right? The question to answer is, who can help me build it? Who can help me build it? Championships are not won alone. Michael Jordan could not have won 6 championships on his own. He needed Scottie Pippen. He needed Dennis Rodman. He needed Steve Kerr. He needed Luke Longley. Kobe Bryant couldn't have done it on his own as well. He needed his teammates. LeBron couldn't have win championships on his own. He needed that, right? Who can build it with me? You're on your team. So if you look at the team and, example, we need coaches, right? We need to be the best player. We need to step into our dream self. We need our peer group, our team members as well. We need the technology, right? Especially in the days and age with technology advancement and AI, that's part of our team as well. We need processes. We need systems. We need the triangle defense, just like Coach Phil, right? You need systems to win championships. So in life and business is the same way. You got to leverage your dream team. The theme is it's who, not how. It's who, not how, right? Because the who can help you, especially if like coaches, can help you avoid mistakes that they made and speed up your success, right? Your peer group, proximity you're within can bounce ideas off of, or somebody can have strengths that you have weaknesses, right, on your team, especially if those who work for you. You want to leverage your dream team, right? That's step 4. Step 5 is then you level up your dream. In order for you to be able to level up your dream, this is where you have to align. You have to align yourself, your business, and your team. This is the drive. After we have the directions, and then we drive, we take action, we would go, right? The question is, how do I create freedom, financial wealth, and fulfillment? It's all 3. It's freedom, financial wealth, and fulfillment. The theme of this is, how fast can I go, right? We drive right to, if it was 70 miles per hour, it's 74, right? How fast can you get there? Because just like my dad, I realized my parents, they made $2.4 million, took them 69 years combined to make it. I realized that the most important, it's not about the money that you make, it's about the speed in which you make it so that you have more time to enjoy it, right? If you really think about, like, for example, if we're going to go from Dallas to California and I fly, commercial versus I fly private, commercial, I got to go a couple hours early. I got to deal with TSA, go wait at the gate, hop on the plane, fly there, go get my bags checked, blah, blah, blah. It might take me, 7 hours total to 8 hours combined for that whole trip. But if I flew private, I drive my car right to the plane. People take my bag, throw in the plane. I hop on the plane. I could drive right to it within minutes. And then within minutes after that, we take off, and then we fly out to California, and then we get out, and then our bags are right there. We hop in our car, we drive to our destination. It cuts about 50% of the time. Why is this important? Time is more valuable than money. We were conditioned to believe that money is more valuable than time, right? How do I know this? I remember my dad, a few years ago, and he's like, we could just do it ourselves, right? We wanted to do our yard, like our gardening and all that stuff. We wanted, bought a new house and wanted to, do our own yard. We could just do it ourselves, just go buy stuff. It would save us so much money. Then I said, Dad, but it would waste so much time. I was like, because Dad, at this point, at stage of my career, my business, I'm actually worth well over $1,000 per hour. If I work 40 hours per week, 50 weeks in a year. Why? Because we were doing a couple $1 million, right? And I could hire somebody to come do this. If I do this, it takes me away from the things that I can do to generate $1,000 per hour. He's like, wow. He didn't understand it at first, but he got it, right? So this is how I shared with them that time is more valuable than money, right? Level up your dream is by aligning yourself, your business, your team, making sure that they know you charted the course as a leader so that your business, you have a clarity of your actual marketing, sales processes, your steps, your client journey, and then your team knows as well how to help you execute and implement, right? And then step 6 is then you liberate your dream. This is where liberating is about setting free. And that's the only way you'll be able to access your wealth and freedom. Because if you don't liberate your dream, you don't set it free, you can't access your wealth and freedom. This is the destiny. This is your destiny. What beliefs unlock your freedom, your financial wealth, and your fulfillment? What beliefs you have to shift? Just like my dad, I had to shift his belief that time is more valuable than money. I myself had to shift when I made my transition in 2005 to start my business. I had to make that shift that I was worthy, that I was worth it. I had a lot of value to bring out to the marketplace. That trading my time was not the way to wealth. I had to shift my mindset and believe that the more value I create, the more wealth I'll have. Right? I needed to change a different belief about the method in which I'm used to make money. Because the problem wasn't about wealth. The problem was the way I was making wealth. Right? And I realized that I didn't have, an offer problem. I didn't have a money problem. What I did was I had an offer problem. I didn't have a wealth problem because the only offer that I had at that time was to trade my time for somebody else's money. Offering somebody to hire me to work for them, that's according to flow of wealth, is going to be flowing to based on your identity. When I shifted that belief of no, I need to create an offer, a real offer, and take it out to the marketplace and make that offer. Because if I can make an offer to have somebody pay me $65,000 per year, that's an offer. To win them over, for them to say yes to hire me, is the same thing as creating a $65,000 offer and taking it out to the marketplace and saying, this is my offer, and having people pay you for that same amount of dollars, right? For you to add value to their life or their business or their relationships or their finances or their health, whatever your thing is, right? The theme here is we made it. We made it, right? We made it. Just like a road trip. We made it. We made it to St. Louis. That was our destiny, right? We made it to the destination, right? So if you want to essentially really look at how you can have time rich, money rich, how to really stop being broke, not just in money, but in time, in your purpose as well. These are the 6 steps, right? So your implementation to this is very, very simple. Really sit down and write this out. Live your dream life, just like what I'm sharing with you here, right? What does live your dream life look like? If time and money were no longer an issue, what's your destination? What does that look like? What does happiness look like? What does fulfillment look like? And by the way, for those of you who are watching this right now, I'd love to have you comment your biggest takeaway from this, right? From this video. We'd definitely want to know what your hugest takeaway and how much we've actually where did we impact your life with this? And then, we're committed to delivering great value to you. Also on this channel, bring some great guests, give some great frameworks and steps and methods and ways to help you achieve time rich, money rich, purpose rich as well. So we'd love to have you, also subscribe to this channel and, consume, right? We're gonna really be publishing a video every single week, and we promise you, we're not here to waste your time whatsoever, right? So, please do that. Subscribe, hit the alert button as well, okay? And then second is, love your dream self. What is your dream self? What is your, there's a concept called the ikigai way, right? Ikigai way. It's a Japanese philosophy that says it's a reason for being. So look it up, ikigai, ikigai, ikigai way. This is where there's an intersection between what you know, right? What you're proficient at, your expertise, and what you love, or your passion. That's really who you are, right? That's, if you really think about it, it's what you know, what you love, who you are, right? How do you bundle that into an offer? And then the third is, finding out a market that actually needs it. They have a problem that you can solve, a payoff that they want. And then fourth part of the ikigai is that you can actually be paid for this, that you're impacting people's lives, right? What's your ikigai? Okay, so that's your love your dream self. And then lead your dream business. Lead your dream business is about, shifting the way that you actually make money, the way that you make wealth. Because again, you don't have a wealth problem, you have a way of making wealth problem, right? So if you're watching this, you're like, yeah, no wonder I've been being pulled to start my business or, create my offer and I haven't been able to. Well, this is a good time. There's no better time than right now. This is the largest transfer of wealth right now for you to start taking what you know, what you love, who you are into the marketplace, right? Love your dream business. Change the way you make money. Then fourth is Leverage your dream team, right? Who do you need? Which coach do you need? Which proximity peer group do you need? Who do you need on your team to help you? What technology you need? What AI you need? Right. Number 5 is level up your dream. Level up your dream, and then you align yourself. Right. Make sure that you know that this is my offer. This is how align your business. This is how we're going to market and sell our offer. Leverage, align your team is how who can help me get there. Right. Who can help me build this, and then liberate your dream. Right. Liberate your dream is that this is how you access your wealth. How you access your wealth. That's your destiny. Right. By taking action and getting there to your destination. Right. Because it's your destiny. Okay. So that's implementation. So write down what that actually looked like. Okay. And my invitation to you is this: if you are looking to get clarity and really implement, apply these 6 steps, and if you yourself are looking to achieve purpose rich, where you can bundle again what you're called to do, who you actually were created to be, into a product, into an offer, into a high ticket offer, then we're invite you to our Dream Life Dream Business Challenge. It's called also the Time Rich Challenge. If you're looking to get money rich, how to actually create your offer, how to market it, how to sell it, right? How to actually create it, put a, package it, put a value to it, market it, sell it, so that you can wake up every single day living your Ikigai way and teaching it, right? Living not only just achieved, but fulfilled. And if you want to also achieve time rich, how do you systematically build a business that is process-based, people-based business, right? Program-based business, so that you can emancipate your time, set your time free. Right. And that's what the Dream Life Dream Business Challenge is all about. It's about creating your offer, about how to take it out to the marketplace, and how do you add value to the marketplace, how do you build pure, genuine relationships, how to market yourself, how to sell, how to serve hard, sell easy. That's what the challenge is actually all about. We're going to show you how we've actually built an 8-figure business now, while being able to travel the world with our boys and living our very best life. That's what the Dream Life Dream Business, that is what the Time Rich Challenge is all about. So the link is going to be below. So for those of you who are going to be, joining us with our challenge, we look forward to seeing you there. Other than that, my friends, I hope that this has, impact your life. Again, your implementation, just really clearly write down, right? Because of what you write, you invite, right? What is living your dream life look like? What is loving your dream self look like? What does leading your dream business look like? What does leveraging your dream team look like? What does leveling up your dream look like? How do you align yourself, your business, your team? Then how do you liberate your dream? How do you set your dream free so that you can really access your wealth and freedom? Again, if you see me at the challenge, we'll see you there. For those of you who are going to be subscribing and commenting, and clicking on the alert button, and we'll see you on the next video. Have a blessed rest of the week. Have an amazing day, guys.